We continue with our look at how we live gratefully for the salvation God has given us by today considering the eighth commandment. And the Heidelberg Catechism has a take on that in 2 questions and answers in Lord's Day 42. Question and answer 110. What does God forbid in the eighth commandment? He forbids not only outright theft and robbery punishable by law, but in God's sight, theft also includes cheating and swindling our neighbor by schemes made to appear legitimate, such as inaccurate measurements of weight, size, or volume, fraudulent merchandising, counterfeit money, excessive interest, or any other means forbidden by God. In addition, he forbids all greed and pointless squandering of his gifts. Question and answer 111. What does God require of you in this commandment? Answer: that I do whatever I can for my neighbor's good, that I treat others as I would like them to treat me, and that I work faithfully so that I may share with those in need. The eighth commandment instructs us quite simply not to steal, and for many of us, I think most of us in our society, this seems like a no-brainer. I don't like it when people take my stuff, so I shouldn't take theirs either. But while most people have no problem agreeing that robbing a store at gunpoint is wrong, the definition of stealing gets a little fuzzier in our world beyond the illegal stuff. Scheming, swindling our neighbors to get their goods for ourselves, fraudulent merchandising, excessive interests? Define those terms, we say. The Bible has some harsh things to say about social injustice. Those who crush the needy, oppress the poor, move boundary stones, pay too little in wages, devour the houses of widows, and use their influence to add to their wealth at others' expense. It's worth noting that many of the practices the Bible criticizes are actually legal. However, they fail the test set up by this command, that I do whatever I can for my neighbor's good. We do not ultimately own the things in our possession. We have received them as a trust which we manage for God, just as God has entrusted others with the things they possess. This means that we respect the property of others, while at the same time keeping in mind the ways that we can manage what we have for the good of others. In the early church at Jerusalem, we're told that the believers had all things in common. Now, this doesn't mean that they ceased to have individual possessions, but the manner in which they used those things was for the common good in the service of those in need. In a similar way, God's people today not only refrain from seizing the possessions of others, including as much as possible through socially acceptable means, but also we are called to use what we have, whether much or little, to reflect the love of Christ at work among us through our faithfulness in the work that we do and our generosity with the gifts that God has entrusted to our care.